Hey, what's up, Stringlings? Today we are going to take a look at this guitar, the AeroBand guitar. Let's check it out. I have had in my time the opportunity to look at a few smart guitars. Smart guitars are definitely kind of the wave of the future. A lot of them will have different apps, different kinds of programming, different ways that you can play with them. You can use them as MIDI controllers. You can record direct from them. They'll have built-in speakers. There's all kinds of options going on with these things. The AeroBand guitar is kind of the most out there version I've seen so far. It ships in these two pieces, as you can see, which actually makes it very compact. Now, I didn't pick up a case for this because I don't know how much I'm going to be going around with it, but I can see using it in the studio a little bit. So we're going to just do a little breakdown on this guy and see what it does. Now, the construction is it's plastic. There may be some carbon fiber involved, but it's definitely plastic, but it's quite sturdy. It's quite well built. I've seen some weird reviews on this. I think early on when it came out, it wasn't, people didn't know what to expect. Hi, Bailey. Yeah, Bailey's coming to visit. Yeah, I'm going to just show you really quickly how this goes together. Now, inside here, I don't know if you can make it out on the side cam. You see that's where the electronics connection is. The neck is the controller, and it slides in, and it will lock in place with this latch there, and it's pretty solid, like it's rock solid. Now, what's curious and interesting about this guitar, I still have the instruction tags on here, by the way, is that it doesn't have strings in the traditional sense. It has 6 guitar strings down here, and these guitar strings are the activation for the instrument, and it has silicone strings, quote unquote strings, running down the neck. These fret positions are the same as any standard guitar. The upshot to this is that you don't have to tune it, so it's very easy to maintain. You don't have to do a setup. It's very, very easy to play. Now, it does come with an app. I've had a little bit of trouble trying to get the app to connect. That might be a phone issue. When I correct that, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how we can do even more settings with the app. But before we do, let's do a little breakdown just on what is included here. Now, for starters, as I said, there's no tuning needed. I'm being interrupted by my cat. There's no tuning needed, but you can do tuning up and down. So you can use the buttons up here effectively as a capo if you want. Change the tuning, and then in the app, it actually has options for alternate tuning. So if you wanted to do a drop D or a dadgad or something like that, those are all built into the app as well. It operates as a MIDI controller via USB-C, as you can see here, and it has an output. It also has a built-in 30-watt speaker, so you can play this way. On the top side, we've got inputs as well, and outputs for headphones. It works. I actually had it playing Bluetooth audio through my from my phone, so it was playing the Bluetooth through the phone, and I was kind of playing along with it, which is pretty cool. So again, you'll find that a lot of these smart guitars will have a Bluetooth function, and that Bluetooth function allows you to play along to a track or something. So it's great for practice in that sense. It also has onboard 9 of its own tones, and I'm going to play them for you in a second just so that you can hear what they sound like. But the really cool thing is, in addition to that, of course, you've got silent practice. What I have found is the challenge with this instrument is how sensitive, and you can adjust the sensitivity in the app as well. But for me, it's actually been a great exercise in coordinating my right and left hand. You'll hear when I'm playing it, when I start making mistakes, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do right now is first I'm going to turn it on, and then you'll get a sense. We're just going right now through the mic here. Okay, so that's the
audio connected.
That's cute. So that means it's actually just connected the audio to my phone via Bluetooth. And the sidebar here, you can see the light is telling me which tone I'm on. and that's controllable all in the headstock as well with this button. You can see on that side. So this middle button will control which tone I'm using. The volume control is here. There's headphone volume here. We have input output volumes for the headphones and the Bluetooth, or you can also jack in your instrument if you want. And okay, that's just the instrument as it sounds on whichever one of these settings it is, and I'll scroll through them in a second. So the strings create the vibration. Your finger position on here tells it what note you're playing. Right now, it doesn't really allow for bends or vibrato or any of that kind of stuff, but it does allow for hammer-ons and pull-offs in certain situations. The thing you need to watch is, if you don't have it set, the hammer-on is easy. Oops. But the pull-off has to go straight up, just like if you were on a violin. Violin players keep a continuous sound with their bow, okay? Which means that they can put their finger down and lift it up. They don't have to pull to the side like we would do in a pull-off on the guitar, where the slur downward creates an additional articulation that plucks the string. This is a little bit more like the violin, in that as long as it's vibrating, you can get that going. For me, as I said, it's been really interesting finding out how uncoordinated my hands actually are. Oh. So you can hear where your fingers are moving. In relation to the notes that you're picking. So this is actually a really, really good practice instrument and training instrument for learning to play the guitar. I think it's going to find a lot of utility in class situations or in lesson situations, because while it doesn't give you kind of a lot of the subtleties and things that I was mentioning before that you get with strings, just in terms of your ability to coordinate your picking hand with your fretting hand is huge. That's such a massive feedback that you don't get from a regular guitar. There's a little bit of space where you can kind of fake it a little bit. Now, just to show you what I'm talking about in terms of the tuning. Oh, this is new. One of the complaints from earlier iterations of this instrument that I've seen online is that you can't palm mute because the strings are active and you're not actually controlling them. They've added a palm mute bar here so that you can mute the strings as needed. It's not exactly where I would palm mute, but again, you use this instrument as this instrument. So is it fully a 6-string guitar? Kinda, right? But also kind of not. So it's just use it for what it's for, right? But I think this is a really great addition. So if we're gonna change the pitch, we can go up. Okay. And we can go down. And the lights on the side will tell you which way you're going. So if we're going up, you see, just hold it here. We're below concert pitch. And that's A440. And remember, you can do this tuning, detuning, capoing, without having to actually retune your instrument and make sure that it's in tune. It doesn't change your intonation, which is always flawless. One thing you can't check is harmonics, because it doesn't recognize the vibration of the string. These may be things that they'll be looking to innovate down the road. Now, I'm just going to turn this down really quick. Okay, so the stock sound number 1 is the one that we were on. It's kind of an acoustic guitar sound. cool. Song number 2, different sound. Okay, so I know that people are going to be commenting on here, it sounds like a digital instrument. It's because it is a digital instrument, guys. Come on. Okay, so the instrument as it is, it's replicating different guitar sounds, and it's doing it with samples, and it's doing it at the intervals that occur. So we go on to instrument number 3. Okay. We lose a little bit of articulation that we would expect, again, with an acoustic guitar. There are adjustments you can make within the app. Future video, I'm going to do a follow-up video on this where we just run through the app and through some of the MIDI functions. I am going to show you the MIDI functions today. But anyway, that was instrument 3. This is instrument 4, is a little bit more of an electric guitar sound. So presumably we could add some distortion to that. And get a little bit kind of a metal sound. I think we could do some cool tapping things. That's actually making some pretty cool sounds right there already. We're on instrument number 5. A little bit more of a classical guitar. I would really like it if they added a 12 string. I think that would be super cool. Yes, it has a piano sound. Okay. Remember, right now you're only hearing it off of here. Okay. You can add bass if you want. I'm very curious because I actually have element bass from Spectre Digital lined up for a demo. I'm curious to see what this will sound like going through that, because I think that could sound actually pretty cool. And we can get some really nifty kind of industrial sounds out of it. Ooh, a banjo. My banjo playing friend Jamie is not going to be happy about that. So you hear the like little slides and glicks and stuff. That's partly my technique and partly the sensitivity level. Again, we'll try all of that out when we get dug into the app. The issue was a memory problem, so don't worry about that, but we'll come back to it. I'm not sure. And then we're back to the original sound, which is nice and clean and tidy. I'm going to plug this in now, and we're going to hear what it sounds like going into Reaper directly into the DAW. So give me 1 second. So now I am plugged in to Reaper directly through my interface. I'm not using any effects on this. Presumably you could. I don't know why you wouldn't try it if you had the opportunity. So I've got this turned up quite high. The interface is turned up reasonably high. Basically, this is just really nicely balanced. And that's what our guitar sounds like through the DAW direct, okay? have to watch those little glitchy things that end up happening with your fingers, because you get those weird little grace notes. So if I wanted a piano sound, we could totally do that here, right? And curiously, the mute doesn't work as a palm mute, but it does work to stop the note if you need to. Okay, so already, as you can hear, some pretty funky things happening. There's a lot of potential in this instrument, really just from, I'm only using it straight out of the box. I made no adjustments to this at all. A little bit of volume adjustment. This is for headphones. That's it, right? So this is going straight into Reaper, and you know, we're getting some pretty nice things happening. So this is all synth, but I mean, it's great. It's great synth, right? I'm going to go back around. Find my piano. So there's my piano sound. And you're going to hear just the strings through there, but not through the audio. But now, give me one more second, and I'm going to show you what we can do with MIDI. All right, so I've got this going into the contact player on Reaper, and I'm just using the contact player itself just so that I'm just working with what's here. Now, we can do some cool stuff here, because if I turn the guitar all the way down, we'll just get very cool on its own, but I can also blend in whatever the tone is that I have on the guitar to do the same thing. That was just me muting it so it doesn't go on forever. So as we kind of switch down here, right, I can, where's the ragtime piano? There's the ragtime piano. So I'll just use their piano. Okay. Let's pick another sound here. I want some strings. Where's some strings? String melody orchestra. Okay, cool. So, taking the guitar out of it. Okay, and we'll use the, we can set other parameters as well, you know, where we're doing volume swells and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to give that to you as a sort of an example. So we have, in this one instrument, we have a playable, usable synth guitar that's also a smart guitar. It also includes drum loops. It has some recording. It comes with lessons. There are lessons in the app as well. You have all of the functions of all of those kind of 9 tones that you can play around with, and you have MIDI operation as well. For me as a guitar player, now I'm also a piano player. I'm classically trained on piano, but sometimes I don't have a keyboard. Like right now, I don't have a MIDI keyboard set up. So if I were to play with the keyboard, that would be one thing. But I can also use this as a MIDI controller, which means that live, if it were to come up in a situation, I could use this as my guitar and as my MIDI controller, depending on how I wanted to do this. So the ability to put all of that into a functional instrument, I think, is something it's brand new. It is listed at, I think, a fairly reasonable price. I mean, the price on the website is about $600 Canadian. I think if I go to Amazon, we'll see that the price is pretty comparable. It's is it more than I would spend? I would say, if I hadn't had this in my hand, by the way, it also comes in black, right? So it comes in white or black. If I didn't have this in my hand, yes, $600, $599. If I didn't have this in my hand, I would say, that has kind of like a toy vibe to it. And some of the reviews I've seen from early on give it kind of a toy vibe, but actually having it in my hands and running it through, kind of putting it through its paces a little bit, I think we're well beyond the toy market with this one. I think it has graduated to a fully functional studio machine. I think this is very much worth investing in if you're a guitar player and you want to start adding string parts and keyboard parts and all that, and you don't want to learn to play keyboards. I don't know why you wouldn't. Everybody should anyway, but if you don't want to, that's fine. This is a very good option to add in those parts. Yes, I can also do drums on it. I don't have a drum patch lined up here, but you can assign it to drums as well if you wanted to get really funky with it. I just think that's so cool that you can trigger actual notes off of this thing. So that's going to be it for today. As I said, I'm going to come back when I've taken care of some family stuff and really dig into the app a little bit more and show you guys just live on screen what the app actually does. Oops, sorry guys. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. There are going to be some changes around the studio and around the channel. We're going to be focusing a little bit on workshop stuff. We're going to be focusing a little bit around some independent music stuff. I'm going to be working on some covers as well, so I'm going to show you in the studio how I do those, and you're going to see the studio gradually over the next little while kind of morphing into what the final vision is supposed to be. It's kind of going a little bit at a time, but we'll get there very soon. All of my links are down in the description. AeroBand is down in the description. Everything you need to know is down in the description. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and consider becoming a member of the channel, because that of course helps me produce more content like this. And in the meantime, I hope you guys are staying safe and well. It's getting a little bit chilly out there now. It's the first week of November, so stay cool but stay warm. Have a great one.